to Ekate's Crossing. Okay, so what am I doing? I've been working with the runes, right? With runes and healing. I need to sort of reconnect again. I want to reconnect with the magical Nordic tarot as well. But in the meantime, I'm re-looking at the YGGDRASIL with the Bifrost. The Guide to YGGDRASIL by Hakua Holdorsen with G. Hauksdottir. Okay, so, excuse the language, terrible pronunciation, I know. Introduction to the cards. The YGGDRASIL deck is based on Nordic mythology, which tells of multi-layered and sometimes contradictory events, with creativity and incredible detail. It can be tricky to navigate the meanings and theories, kennings, of the Eddas and the codes of conduct in the Havamal text and the decrees of Odin. It's the ancient poems and stanzas of the Poetic Edda and Prose Edda that, among other writings and folklore, lay out the worlds of the gods. By no means is there a linear or binary narrative to be found in these collections of texts, but rather a tangled worldview with inherent values, adventure, integrity, family, nature, and ingenuity. The worlds and the gods and all the big beings are all interlinked and connected, even the ones that seem at odds. The exchanges of the deities and beings in the nine worlds seem to have an inner natural logic of destruction, renewal, and everything in between. The gods are fallible, flawed, and created with a perfect wisdom at the same time. Yggdrasil is the ash tree of life. In and around it, the nine worlds rest. All the worlds are interrelated by the branches and roots of the great tree, and creatures that live in Yggdrasil travel freely around the tree and between the worlds, either gnawing at it or giving it dynamism. The Yggdrasil can be read as a symbol for the framework of human development as well as individual development, from the proto to the progressive. The tree is described in Volutspa as a great white ash tree growing from one of the three springs of water underneath the Great Sea, or the spring of Urbruna. It is from this well the all-seeing sisters Udur, Vorandi, and Skald came, who weave the threads of humankind's destiny and take care of the tree of life, covering it with the white mud from around the spring. There are a few main writings in the Eddas that tell of the worlds of gods and humans, the creation of the worlds and their demise. The ones that are mainly cited for the Yggdrasil deck are the Sonora Edda, Prose Edda, and the Samunda Edda, Poetic Edda, but there are also stories from Havamal, folklore, memories, songs, the sagas, and imagination. The verses are meant to be chanted, even if the Eddas we know were written down in the 12th century. They are presumably much older, and some texts and concepts are sure to be ancient. No one can really say for certain how long they've been passed on from mouth to ear and chanting before they are written down. And when they were written, likely some cosmetic work was done, superimposing values of the time of the writer. The decree of the pagans who practiced Nordic mythology was advanced in wisdom, but also a brutal one. The whole philosophy and all the stories of the gods are told in poetry in the Old Norse language, which is quite close to modern Icelandic. All names are therefore written in Icelandic with Icelandic letters. I'm not going to go into too much that, because I am not Icelandic. I'm not traditionally Norse in this life, even though I do have a very strong Norse collection, or a Viking connection. So very interesting in regards to past lives, but that's another story. Anyway, so using the cards. The cards of the Yggdrasil don't have a conventional higher and lower arcana like reading cards often have, although some of the cards are more significant than others depending on their status. The deck contains 9 sets of 9 cards, each 9 entities in each of the 9 worlds. They are numbered in the book, but not on the cards, and that's one thing I find really frustrating in many ways, because the cards are actually not numbered, so it makes it quite hard unless you really. So I want to really start to get to know the cards properly, so I don't have that trouble when I'm trying to find the message in the book for myself, or if I'm doing a reading for somebody and I just want a little bit more information about the deity. So they're numbered in the book. The ones numbered 1 to 4 can be considered more potent than the ones numbered 5 to 10, although each card has its own worth. Please keep in mind that there are a few elements in the spread of YGGDRASIL that influence each individual card. Firstly, the placement of the card. For example, the strongest placement of all combinations possible is the placement of Odin in the place of Askador, with either Freyr or Frigg in the placement of Alfheimr or Midgardor. If a card lands in the place of the world it belongs in, it reinforces its saying in general, although all of the 9 worlds sitting in YGGDRASIL are intertwined and interconnected. So it really weakens a card to land in any world. Its placement adds the attributes of that world to the card. For example, if Freya, who belongs in Askador, lands in... Oh, that's another story. That's another thing I've got to get into, and I'm not going to dive into too much into this because it's getting a little bit deep. Because at the moment, all I'm doing is learning a card at a time. I'm not looking at how cards tie in together, how they blend together, how they sort of speak a story when they're together. So I'm not going to go into too much there. We do talk, there is a little bit about animal symbolism, the importance of the cards, history of creation, and all that. I'm not going to go into too much detail in that. If you really want to know more about this deck, I think the best thing you can do is really dive into it yourself. Get a deck, dive into it, and learn. All I'm doing at the moment is learning each of these cards. I don't know what card I'm going to pull each day, so it's going to be depending on how I feel. And I'll do a bit of a video. Now, there won't be any talking in it, of course. All I'm going to do is write up my own thoughts on each card. And that's what I'm going to be referring on. Now, it does talk about the importance of 9. It does talk about the cardinal directions. It has got the spread here on the YGGDRASIL tree. Okay, so something I can look at. Talks about the placements of the cards on the tree and what they mean. So then we've got Asgard. Okay, so this is what we're doing first. Asgard, the world of gods. Icelandic, Askador. YGGDRASIL location is northeast, center on top, card position. The seeker's main aspiration, the question for the cards, creativity, expression, and renewal. Askador is home to gods known as Azir and is their stronghold. It sits on the top branches of YGGDRASIL. It's directly connected to Midgardor by Bifrost, the bridge where humans see as the elusive rainbow. Asgardor is the place to which humans aspire, the most anticipated afterworld for humans. Some of the locations that are most important to human aspiration are placed in Asgardor. Most notably is Valhall, the Hall of the Gods, where fallen humans are brought by the Valkyries after battle. It's the hall where the slain Einherjar feast with the gods on the boar. Sirhimnir, which constantly is regenerated, as the final and everlasting feast. Hildiskarv is the high throne from where Odin has his view over all the worlds. Eternal youth is found in Askador. Love, prosperity, and creativity reside there. Askador is not only home to the Aesir and the world where humans mingle with them, is also their main place of residence and their temples. In it lies their power of internal renewal. The mythical plane of Idavolur, the field of abundance and activities, is located in Askador. After Ragnarok, which causes the end of the world, the remaining Aesir gather again in Idavolur, and it's there the world regenerates and comes into being once again. Idun keeps the apples of eternal youth in Idavolur, while home to the Aesir. Askador, it is tangible and accessible to humans, has the quality of renewal and new beginnings, even out of total destruction. It is a source of adventures, both the wondrous activities of the gods and their disastrous mistakes. In English we use the word gods to refer to the Aesir, as they are all worshipped in deities, but it is not exclusive. there are other beings, elves, giants, etc., that are sometimes worshipped as deities as well. Excuse me. Okay, so that's it for today. So it'll be interesting to see what cards I get each day of the week. Okay, so that's it from me. Take care and blessed be.